Welcome back to Mindful LCA. In today's episode, Norma and I are diving into a really powerful question. Does all anger come from love? We're going to unpack what's really behind our anger, whether it's frustration, pain, fear, or even deep care, and explore what this emotion might be trying to teach us. Together, we'll reflect on how anger can show up in relationships, parenting, and our healing journeys, and see what we can learn when we approach it curiously instead of judgment. So grab a cup of tea, take a deep breath, and join us as we explore connection between anger and love in Mindful LCA. But first things first, I'm the realist. How are you doing today, Norma?
Hello, I'm doing great. I mean, don't you see? Look at it. Everything's working. I just kind of woke up. Um, I got my coffee for us to talk about. I will say today I missed your hello, hello, hello. I'm so used to that when it doesn't happen, my brain like, why are you not
It threw you
saying
off.
hello to me sometimes? Yes. Um, I have been going nonstop. Like my life is really fast paced. And yeah, just my weekend was really hectic. So yesterday was Sunday for me. And I went to bed at 8:30. I took a nap from 6 to 8, then went to bed, actually to bed, and I slept from like 8:30 or 9ish until like 7:30 this morning. So I
Nice.
slept a long time, which is really rare for me. Um, so I'm feeling groggy from all that sleep, but I'm actually
Yeah,
feeling pretty good. How are you?
good, good. I just keep getting challenged by life, like always. shit gets shit gets thrown, and other things get thrown, and just like, oh, gotta learn, gotta learn, gotta learn, gotta learn, gotta
Mhm.
heal, gotta work at it, gotta do that. Um, Yeah, I'm also still. I mean, I developed a habit, like 'cause we're talking about sleep, of waking up super early, like 5:36, to take the girls to school. But because of that, I have to develop the habit of also going to sleep early. You know,
Yeah,
so if I don't, no matter what time I go to sleep, I wake up. It's like 5:30, and my body's like, get up, motherfucker. You know, so
that's
I have to work on that as well. But other than that, just been chilling, been good, just learning and like I said, understanding and try to heal from it and growing. Like always, I think it's always that's gonna be the story forever, right? Like something
yeah.
comes up, and how do you handle it? How do you deal with it? What can you do about it? And go from there.
This is true.
So yeah.
This is very
So
true.
so not to segue into the episode. This question, like I thought of randomly when I was talking to one of the people that I help with their mental health on like the weekly basis, because that person was struggling with the relationship with their dad, and there was a lot of anger. And then I noticed, well, like if you didn't care about the relationship with your dad, if you didn't care about the distance, if you didn't care about that, if you weren't missing love or wanted love, would you be angry? And then I was like, oh, maybe that's a good question to explore in, if in reality, um all of our anger comes from love. And the following question, which is also the same thing, is can you be mad at something that you don't care for, to some degree, that you don't love, right? Because I had a conversation with somebody else who was like, oh, it's not necessarily love, is that I care for it. But like caring is still like a smaller version of love for something, you know? Like I don't love uh Jamaica as much as I don't love my wife, but I still love Jamaica. You get me? Like I still care, I still do that. So it's still love, whether you care for it or not. Because I was trying to explain to that person whether it's something so simple. It was actually tacos, the fucking thing, because that person love Jack in the Box because they don't have it in their state where they live. So it's like you love fucking Jack in the Box, but you don't love tacos.
Oh, I can't hear.
Sorry, I got disconnected. I touched the freaking wire of the mic.
Oh,
So whether tacos, you love tacos, and you love your mom, it's still love. It's just
yeah.
very a very smaller thing. So caring. It's just another version of love. So what do you think, since we haven't discussed it, just kind of like see what you think about it? Like, do you believe that you can have anger without love?
Do I believe now, I guess we didn't necessarily like discuss this, but just for my own sake, are we doing just whatever you and I think, or are we doing it from a perspective of like also science or both?
Whatever you like. I just thought it would be cool for us to record this to see kind of where our mind took us and what examples or where what we develop on our own. Because like I explained it to you before we started recording, it's a tangled wire in my head that I'm like I haven't given the time to actually develop whether I think is true or not.
Okay. All right. Then do I think so? Yes. For the people that like follow me on my professional Instagram, which is something that give me 1 second, let me shut my mama there up.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, well, she's telling for you guys are just listening. She's just telling her mom, "Hey, mom, we're recording. Be quiet over here." I do my best Norma impression. Hey, mom, por favor, te puedes callar poquito.
Poquito. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But for those of you that don't that follow me, like I posted something on Sunday morning, Saturday night or Sunday morning,
Mhm.
of just a lot of like pain that was coming up, and there was a part of me that was like really angry, and I think from that stance, because of everything that's going on in the world, from that stance, I will say that um I do believe, as from my personal experience, that anger does come from love. That just like the way that you said it, if I didn't care, I wouldn't experience anger, right? If somebody um if I didn't have love within me, I would be very apathetic, I believe. So I wouldn't care for a lot of things.
Mhm.
Um, so from that perspective, I do because um, this is when I talk to my clients about like emotions, because I think like, and we've talked about this, how we categorize emotions as good or bad, but they are actually neither. They just are. And a lot of my clients, they think anger is a bad emotion. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, let's kind of like look at it and see if it actually is a bad emotion. And then usually the example that I give them is like, do you have a pet? And they'll be like, yeah, I have a pet. I'm like, okay, let's say like your pet was here and I would like hit the shit out of your pet. How would you react? And be like, I'll be pissed. But I'm like, but why? If anger is a bad emotion, why would you be mad at me? Like, I'm your therapist. Why would you be mad at me? They're like, because I care about my dog. Because I love my dog. And I'm like, exactly. So, like, that anger, what is it asking you to do? And they often say, like, to prevent you anything from like prevent you from hitting my dog, protecting my dog, making sure that my dog is safe, like any of those things, like you are actively caring, you're actively loving this dog, so that if it weren't for that anger, you wouldn't do anything. So I could just like beat the shit out of the dog and there will be like no consequences, nobody stopping me, because no one's reacting. So that's one way that I've like learned to explain it to my clients. Um, and that's I've I've learned with the experience that that is a very good way for to reframe like how people look at anger, because other than that, it's really hard for them to actually buy into the idea that that love is a or anger is an act of love. So that's the best way that I've been able to explain it to them.
Yeah, that's true. The most simple or most basic, I think of an example because we went back and forth with that. that person. Um, and it was like, well, if somebody cuts you off on the freeway, on the road, and you get angry, like, is that not love? Because like you're trying to protect yourself, right? Even if we go into the
Yeah.
physiological stuff of adrenaline, like you have adrenaline to protect yourself, even like without doing it consciously. Like adrenaline is there to kick in at a split second to protect you because there's
Mhm.
love for yourself to protect you even subconsciously. It's already wired in you to protect yourself enough because there's scare in it. There's protection from within yourself. um so that's what I was like, even that comes from caring about something, or maybe caring about your time, caring about your car, caring about your family in the car, you know mm, caring about, like, when you're upset that you can't get to work and you're mad. You care because you're concerned that you're going to get in trouble, and that's going to affect you some way, somehow, some way. It's going to like hurt you in one way or another, or have
Mhm.
negative consequences. So I think is that. Okay, we came to a consensus faster than I thought. But then can we then reframe, or not reframe, but develop an awareness then that anger is maybe comes from needing or wanting more love, right?
What do you mean? Can you?
Like if you in the same cutting off example, I get mad because someone cuts me off. It's because I would want them to be more conscious of the decision that they made without looking, and I would want them to care more about my car, my body, my family in this car. So when they cut me off, I would want them. I'm upset because they didn't think to care about me. They didn't think to be cautious and be aware about that. So is there like a need or a want because that's not getting taken care of when there's a, like, does the anger come from wanting to be, obviously it comes from love, and maybe because the lack, can it come from lack of love? Is that like the actual thing now?
That's as right now
You
where
because you can't be, I'm sorry, because you can't be hurt. I kind of lost the train of thoughts, but you can't be hurt if somebody's taking care of you, right? If somebody's being aware and kind and all that, can you?
mm, you're saying you can't be hurt by somebody that loves you?
No, no, yeah, like it's like, for example, if the and I'm just going based on the cutoff, and I know where you're gonna go most likely. But if somebody's cutting me off, I'm upset that, like I said, they weren't careful with me and my car or my health, or they didn't have the awareness of it. So their lack of care that makes somebody just turn, or even lack of awareness at the most basic level, maybe they didn't see you. That lack of awareness is you wanting, the anger is there because you wanted them to care for you enough to see you so that you wouldn't get hurt. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it really like I think at the core, yes. I now I'm thinking, sorry, my brain is going on tangents right now.
Hmm.
Um, because oh, there's so much going on in my brain. I'm having a very hard time focusing on one thing. I, I think part of this episode will be then maybe important for us to even go back to basics as far as like let's define what love even is.
Hmm.
And we could do a whole episode on that too.
Hmm.
Um, if I take the definition of love that has really stuck with me is by Bell Hooks. Um, And she says, love, I'm not going to exactly quote her because I don't know exactly, but love is an act where it is an act of nurturing my own and somebody else's spirit. So when we love, we are nurturing ourselves and we are also nurturing other people for their growth or their spirit.
Hmm.
Um, so if we take that as the definition of love, then it can be argued that a lot of maybe things, first of all, sorry, bear with me people, because like again, my brain is going 1,000 miles per hour. I think at some point, and I'm even debating my brain, like is love something that is even innate, that is just there from the beginning, or is it something that we learn? That I don't know how I feel about. Because if we then take maybe our aware consciousness and we look at just our survival, we can argue that love itself is just a survival strategy. In the cutoff example, if this person cuts me off, there is a possibility that I might die. So my anger is coming from like I want to make sure that I survive as well as like whoever might be in the car with me. So the care that like I'm wanting from them might be from a place of like, not that I want you to care for me in a like mushy way, but more like I want you to care enough to not take my life, to not make me not be alive anymore.
Mhm.
So then I'm wondering, is it more of eh, the the anger comes from that instinct? Um, but I think for us human beings, and I'm judging from a perspective or lack of knowledge, that I don't know if other living things are also able to experience love, right? But I think as humans with this consciousness that we have, I do think that that is maybe like a skill that we've developed or something within our survival that we are able to experience love. So, from a human perspective, yes, I think everything comes from love, but at some point, too, maybe we become disconnected. If somebody hasn't experienced love from their upbringing, then it's going to be difficult for them to get in touch with that. Maybe that is something that we are looking for, we are yearning for, but we don't know how or where to ask for it. So the but anger is something that we all, for whatever reason, are able to experience. So I don't know. Now I don't know if any of what I just said made sense, by the way.
Oh yeah. Um. Yeah. Maybe also that I'm also struggling with a bunch of shit in my head at the same time. When you mentioned, I was like, oh, I feel the same way. Like having a hard time focusing. Um. Yeah. I mean, back to the initial thing that you said, where there is something that we learn or something that we have, is I think is definitely something that we have from when we're like born. I don't think you
The
learn.
ability to love?
Yeah. Like, how are you? Like, I'm trying to think as a baby, as somebody before maybe so much influence on the fucking world. There's the well, maybe I haven't really thought about it, but I would think like the love already exists, right? From a baby is born, it's already on your DNA and your shit to find to know who your mom is, to have the bond, to care, to do that. It just comes like instinctively. I don't think I have to teach you to have that bond. Now, can do we as humans rip that shit away? Like, can we rip it away like as soon as you're born? Like, yes, we can fucking start treating people or treating your kid like shit to the point that you rip that fucking problem, and then you can get into the shit of like that's the base for all of our suffering at the end of the day to some degree, that they rip that ability to that, you know. But yeah, I think we have it and we're born with it, because it's just like, because you can, I guess maybe we can, to answer the question is like, well, how does a baby show love? How do you know a baby loves something or loves you? Like, is that, do you think the fact that the baby, because you see babies get happy, right, at the image of the mom or the dad or a familiar thing, and you can say this smile, this happiness at such a young thing, it's already love. It's already saying, I fucking love this person in front of me. They can't even begin to even explain to you what the fuck they're doing, or they're not even aware that we know of, as of now. I don't think we're aware that that baby is fucking showing or giving you love, right?
We are getting so existential right now. Um, I was. This is not where I pictured the podcast going today. I really thought we were just gonna go from like the in my brain what I had like put together
Uh,
was from a perspective of an attachment perspective, and maybe it is related, but more of very like, well, according to attachment theory, this is what
yeah,
it says, but this
yeah.
is going a completely different direction, which is okay. Um, and this is we were having, oh gosh, I think it was with you, this conversation of like, yeah, it's when you were taking me to the airport, when science ends, that's where God begins. Is that what you said?
Mhm,
Um, and and I think this might even be a little bit on that line, because if we look at a baby, right? Like moms, um, they're connected to their babies when they're in their belly.
mhm,
So like all the nutrients, everything comes about from that. Now, um, the attachment hormone is oxytocin. So when a mama feeds, or parent feeds their baby through breastfeeding, that is where like a lot of oxytocin is, like that is what helps them become like attached, like
mhm.
the skin and stuff like that. So I think if we look at it from that perspective, that scientific perspective, we could argue that love is in fact innate, because that oxytocin is the hormone that allows us um, to attach to people. Um, Now, one thing um, that I think outside of science, I believe is that yes, love is within us, but because of life experiences, it again we become detached from it, and then
Mhm.
that's when then trauma happens and blah 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 blah. So I think this sense of innocence, or um yeah, I think that's the only word that I can come up with babies, because they haven't experienced the hurt of the world, that they are able to give and experience love in a way that maybe many of us adults can't, because mm, I can give you an example like this. I think people that have any type of cognitive difference, like any type of neurodivergency, such as autism, like Down syndrome, cognitive delay, anything like that. Um, People that are able to almost like keep this innocence to them, this authenticity to them, that people maybe that aren't neurodivergent. So my friend posted a video the other day. It was three kids, it was what appeared to be two neurotypical kids, and in the middle it was a person with a kiddo with Down syndrome. And I think this really speaks to like nourish my spirit and nourish somebody else's spirit. And there were three plates covered with a cup. So then one neurotypical kiddo opens up um the cup, lifts up the cup, and and there's like a piece of candy there. And both of like the other two kids were like, woo, like super happy about it. And then they open up the kiddo with Down syndrome, and the same thing. He has his little candy, and they're like, he has two candies, and they're like, woo, so happy. And then they open the third kiddos, and there is no candy there. So then the kiddo with Down syndrome, who has it too, he like looks at the kid, at the other boy, and then like at the other girl, and it doesn't even think about it. Like it was like I'm slowing it down for you, but the way it just happens, he like looks at he doesn't have any candy, looks at him, looks at the other girl, looks at his plate, immediately changes, puts one of his candy on him, puts the cup back, and then invites him to like open it up again. And then he opens it and he like celebrates it.
Mm.
And I think those little things are such big acts of love that kids are able to experience that many of us adults lost touch with as we become as we get hurt, as we experience maybe trauma, as we become selfish. I don't know. um so I think to that degree, like I do maybe believe that kiddos are probably one of the best teachers of love that we might have, but we sometimes aren't aware of that or don't want to even like acknowledge that. Um, Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, the thing is true. I mean, just on an observation from my girls, I was telling, I think my compadre, and no, my brother too. It's so hard to, I don't, the right word is not deal with them, but it's so hard to allow them to be as expressive as they are. Like I think about that and like how upsetting it is for me still to just be like, fuck. Like I get caught up, but then when I take a step back and I was like, hey, pendejo, you want them to express everything that they're feeling,
Ah,
because
oh,
I feel like my oldest Mia is like can be two different people in different scenarios. Like at some point she's just quiet and shy and on her own and doesn't give a fuck about whatever is going on and is to herself. And then she just explodes with fucking talking and emotion and the shit, and she's there jumping and giggling and saying shit and that. And I noticed after we had that get together this last weekend, she was quiet and shy into herself. And then we went to have a lunch the day after with my compadre and his family, and she's asking questions, talking fucking the ramen and this and that, and like jiggling and things, and to the point like hey, settle down, like like that. So then it's so hard because they have that natural ability to express exactly what the fuck they think and what they feel
mhm.
and what everything, and we're just not used to, like, I'm not used to at all having, I don't I don't have the emotional, which is gonna be fucking sounding insane because I talk all that shit about myself. I don't have the cup, the size that their cup is, to be able to have such strong emotions. Like I don't have the ability to be able to let them be,
Yeah.
because I'm so like, it made me think of how much I'm so used to suppressing or not showing exactly the emotions, and they're just able to show it. And I'm like, it's
Mhm.
it's honestly scary because if I'm struggling with it, I wonder what other people feel, think, or do, or how they're struggling with it. Because
Yeah.
once again, if I, because of the shit that I've been through and my healing and my growth, my emotional cup is much bigger uh theirs is fucking huge, and I get overwhelmed, and then I'm like, but you overwhelm people, like you overwhelm people. Imagine what the fuck, like them is gonna be a struggle to continue to be themselves, and hopefully
Yeah.
they still don't adjust to that, and um we continue to create a society where that's completely like acceptable and all that, you know.
Yeah.
Because it can be concerning for how they manage fucking life and all that stuff. But then again, it goes full circle to what we said a little bit ago. I think the greatest shit that Celia, my wife, has ever told me is like, well, you're just pursuing love because you didn't have your parents' unconditional love. Like that's the greatest shit that I think she's ever fucking told me. That be like, that's 100% true, right? Like we're chasing that. We're chasing being our authentic selves. We're chasing being um able to feel whatever emotion we feel, and because we don't get that, we're chasing it somewhere else instead of there. But if, and because when I don't know, I think we did talk about this in another episode, it's like, yeah, well, if I had, like I told you, right, yeah, if I had my parents' unconditional love and acceptance and conversation and love and all that, I'd be like, why the fuck would I need anybody else for, you know? Like why the fuck would I need anybody else to be around? Like, I'm, it's exaggerating, but like it would make life a lot easier to just be able to be authentically be yourself at at minimum with those two people in your life where you share everything about that, because it is I mean, I don't know whatever the fuck, because I never researched this or listened to a podcast or whatever, whether it's learned or not, but I, everything tells me that it's already within us. That ability is there, just like any other emotion, you know, anger, joy, sadness, or whatever. I think love is already, it comes from there, even if it's because of the um oxytocin and all that shit, but that's literally in your body. That's not something that you experience. It's not something that is put in, like it's not a, it's nature, it's not nurture. You get me? Like yes, you can nurture it, but it's already within you. The ability to love is within you, and yes, the nature can affect it, shape it, or diminish it, or whatever. At least that's what
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I do. Like now, and maybe we can discuss that a little bit further, but like if whether it's learned or it's innate, um because people also argue that attachment and love are two different things.
Hmm.
I don't know, because you can be attached to somebody and not necessarily love them or them love you. um but if if we if we do, James James Baldwin, not Baldwin, Balby, oh my god, I'm confusing two different people. No, John Balby, which is the person, the father of attachment. um he does mention that anger does come uh, as a form of uh, like a protest, to be able to get love, right? Like when a kid cries, like if we look at a kiddo or an infant, when a parent leaves and they cry and they throw the tantrums, they're bitching and moaning. What they're wanting is like, come be with me, come love me, right? So it could be that it is something that it's innate. I would have to do more research. I know that Bill Hooks, she described it as eh, not as a noun but a verb, like an action that we do, and that many people haven't, because they haven't experienced it, haven't learned, right? And when and she even argues that people that are good caretakers, just because some parents are good takers, good caretakers doesn't mean that they are actually loving their kids. And that was really hard for me to take in. Where they're like your basic needs are met. They're giving you food, shelter, clothing. That is just caring. That's not experiencing love. And I was like when I read that, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because again, going from her definition of what love is to nurture one's and somebody else's spirit, somebody that purposefully inflicts harm or abuses you, they can't love you. And I was like, mm, mm. Like, did I experience abuse growing up? I was like 100%. I
Wait,
experienced physical violence.
say that
Go ahead.
again. The
Say
last
what?
part, like if somebody abuses you, they can't love you.
Hmm.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
That I'm. Gosh, I wish I don't have the book in front of me. Um, I would have to go back and look at it. Um, but yeah, somebody that inflicts pain or abuses you, like they don't have that capacity to like love you. They can
Oh,
care for you, but not love you.
but it's not binary.
What do you mean?
It's not like yes or no. They can or can't love you. The capacity thing, yeah, there's a thing. They love you to their own capacity. They care for you to their own capacity, but it's not like they don't love you. Because when you first said it, you didn't say capacity. I was like, it's stupid. It's not black and white because I have inflicted pain on my loved ones thousands of millions of fucking times, but that doesn't mean that I love them,
I
and
think choose.
maybe my capacity has grown, you know,
I have
but
to go back and reread it. But she experienced it. She explains the difference between care and love.
yeah, that it makes sense now when you
Oh,
added the capacity thing to it, right? Because I can't fully love you and accept it because when I'm fully loving you and accepting you, there's no way at the maximum capacity that I'm inflicting any pain on you. Almost like like yes, there's still always gonna be that shit, right? Because it also comes down to the perspective of the person, right? Like no matter how much I fucking be loving you and accepting you, you may perceive certain shit as me hurting you or abusing you, but I get what she means of yes, that's true. Because you could only again you love to a certain extent and then after that you're like lost and then you do that. So I agree though. That was because that was like the old school. That was like the bar of like older generations, right? Of like, what the fuck you talking about? I fed you, I fucking clothe you, and like you have shelter. But did you die? Kind of shit. It was like I kept you alive. That's what's been in the past acceptable for
you're
people.
here.
Yeah, and now it's not like that because we're seeing how much more it's needed and how much more and how complicated it is. I share one thing because it just all this shit again. I think at the end of the day, it's beautiful and shocking that it all goes back to parenting. At the end of the day, I saw I shared a video that said, um, "Oh, just so you know, if you're a parent and you're succeeding in chasing your dreams and you're meeting your goals and all that, you're a shitty dad. Like just so you know." That just literally tells you that you're probably not the best fucking father to have if you're over here. And I'm like, yes, 1,000%. Like if there's so much more. If you're so focused that you're achieving everything professionally, you're lacking as a father. Like you're lacking as a mother, you're lacking as a parent because it's so hard. It's fucking impossible almost to have both. It's so impossible to have both. Like I just look at people that are like super, I gotta rephrase that. I was gonna say super successful because they're wealthy. People that have a lot of money, um, and they're really wealthy, and then They had a kid, it's a specific celebrities I'm thinking of. They have a kid and they're still working. They're still looking for more shit. They're already like close to being like billionaires and they're still working and creating new companies and doing this and that. And I'm just like, motherfucker, your daughter needs you, you stupid bitch. Like your daughter needs you. What the fuck are you doing creating all these companies and doing all this shit? You have a goddamn baby at home. What the fuck are you doing creating companies? You know? And it was true. And then like it could be offensive or whatever the shit, but like when I look at it, it was like, yeah, if you are if you're saying that you're successful in growing this fucking company or achieving these things and setting and doing all your goals, it's you're something's missing on the other side of it. There's time for that stuff because it's so fucking hard because there's so many instances, and I don't know how somebody can have that big of an emotional fucking energy and physical and IQ to be able to manage everything. It's goddamn near impossible, you know. It needs to
Mhm.
be tipped back to where you prioritize. You find some fucking balance. But yeah, when I share that, it was like, yeah, that's 100% true. There's no fuck like I miss. I still, when I look at myself as a father, there's a shit ton of things I need to fix. There's a million instances when like you didn't validate, you fucking did it, you're fucking for whatever reason you were tired, you were angry, you were whatever the fuck, you missed this opportunity, this thing, and that was wrong, and this is wrong, and that and that. And it's just like, well, shit, the fucked up thing is like I still need to work or survive or manage my own mental health, manage relationships, manage all this other shit that like you miss so many things. So if I was to add a fucking $1 million company and me running it through that shit, is like, where the fuck is the time? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And this is all a big fucking a rant because of that love thing that you don't have from your parents. Like it literally, when she said that, I thought about it and I had put more thought before that. She just kind of like summed it up and like, yeah, that's true. All of it comes from that, from the lack of acceptance, the lack of understanding from our parents, which we talked about already. I think, I don't know if we talked about it, but I sent you a message um about it. I don't know if we discussed it. That it would all it's all from there. It's all we all have the abandonment, and that abandonment is the reason for every single goddamn mental stress or emotional stress in our lives. Is that part of it? They broke our hearts at 3, 5, 7 years old, and then we're chasing fucking that love again, that unconditional, no matter what, nurturing fucking thing. We're chasing it forever, and that heartbreak doesn't allow us to trust fully, doesn't allow us to love fully. Because in the back of our mind, if it's like, if you're in the back of, I think subconsciously, everyone's like, my fucking, well, not everyone, most people, until you start healing, you can think about it that way. Subconscious is like, dude, this, you think this motherfucking person is not gonna break my heart? My parents did it, stupid. Like I feel like that's the subconscious of everybody until you tap it. It's like your parents did it. Like your parents fucking neglected you, rejected you, abandoned you. You think this fucking person's not gonna do it? But you need it so badly that you overlook everything and you go chase the fucking person still. Because you need it so badly. So it was I just love my mind and my brain, how it works, like simplifying and narrowing shit down and being able to give you a one line puncher or be like, this is it. Like it does that. I love that.
I'm looking at like um um what's the word? Not analyzing, reflecting. I'm reflecting on like the path that I've been on, like with the whole healing thing. Um and I think it is like once you do when you do start looking at your wounds, um it does become so much easier to trust, to love. and knowing like what are things that like what am I willing to let in and not let in. And that doesn't mean that you don't love X, Y, and Z person. Um, if you decide to like walk away from something, right? Um, because I think like a lot of us, because of what we've learned about what love looks like, we have this idea. Well, if I love this person, then I should be able to like handle whatever or put up with whatever they're offering. Um, and I think like the more and more that you heal and look at those wounds, you're like, I can love you, but I can love you from afar because I also have to love myself, right? The part of nurturing my own spirit, the other person's spirit, is like, I'm not nurturing my spirit by being in this friendship, in this relationship, in this job, whatever. And I'm not nurturing yours because I'm not letting you be. Um, so being able to like let that go too is a, and I think we've said it before, is a big act of love, right? Like understanding like, hey, I don't think this is going to work. Like I'm not loving you in the way that you need me to love you, and you're not loving me in the way that I need you to love me, so I can like walk away. Um and yeah, I think when you know that you're like you don't have to search for love. Like love is within you. Tap into it. Um Life becomes better, easier. Well, maybe not easier, but um like it doesn't feel as heavy. At least for me, it hasn't felt as heavy, except for everything that's going on in the world. Because I have a lot of love and it kills me to see what's happening. But mm,
Yeah. And that's actually, I connected that pretty quickly. That's actually the beauty of feeling more, and the downside of feeling more. The more love you're able to feel, the more anger you're able to feel, the more pain you're able to feel, the more everything you're able to feel. So it's not only the good feelings that you're feeling more, like you feel
comfortable,
everything. Yeah.
comfortable, not good.
Yeah. So go watch Naruto, because that's the shotting, the Uchiha clan's powers and their downfall, that they've been through so much pain, and they've been uh persecuted, that they have the ability to hate, and as equally as big as they're able to love. And that's the dilemma that they have to work through. And that's my next tattoo, to control it. Yeah. So I mean, it might not have gone to where we wanted the episode to go, but this was a great episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Great episode with idea. And
I
if, and
think
if
that
you if you can think of something, like, please leave it in the comments or send us a message or some shit. If you have a scenario or a question where you think, well, this anger um doesn't come from love, like, I'd be willing to. I mean, we're both willing to grow and change our mind and opinion. But like I said, I haven't. I've gone through a couple scenarios and everything that I think is like there's some kind of protection. There's some kind of care for whatever. Because if I don't give a shit about you, I couldn't be angry about it. If I didn't care about any fucking random thing going, then there's no care, there's no anger. Like, can we think of a certain shit that me and you have no conscious of, that are not conscious of going on in the world? I don't know. Maybe just thinking of some random shit. Like when I drive all the time, because I'm making a drive to the Bay Area again. When I drive, there's always the concern for water in the farms. Like, have you been upset that there's no fucking water in the farms? Have you
no.
had exactly, because that is not something as of now that we care about. So we haven't been angry that there's no fucking water that the farmers are complaining about when you drive through the thing, right? Like, so we cannot. We physically cannot get fucking angry at something that we don't care about. Is when we become more conscious and we become conscious of, and that's actually what's happening when you think about it. We become more and more conscious of shit that allows us to care and be upset at the same time. That's the shit. So
But
you can't, I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know, as of everything that I've thought of so far, I don't know when it doesn't come, when anger doesn't come from love. It's just, I have to remember that, and it's hard. That's the hard part. Somebody called some many times on videos recently are like, the you know the lingo, like literally the little fucking perrito page that I follow. It's just a dog that drops knowledge. It's like, you know the lingo, you know what to say, you know what it's about, you know where in your brain this shit works, but are you putting in the fucking work? And it don't mean shit if you're not putting in the work. It's just it's so hard.
I
It's so hard to remember
know
that. It's so hard to
it
remember.
is really hard. Like, and we've talked about like the umbrella of compassion, right? Oh my God. It's really hard.
Mm.
So hard. Because then if we look at that, like everything comes from like this search of like love, then that also not forces us, but like if we're going to talk the talk and walk the walk, um, it would it would also include to look at the people that are maybe consciously, maybe subconsciously, I don't know, like hurting us, right? Like such as the current administration. Like how like I think this part of, oh my god, that would be, we should, like as I'm talking about this, I'm like, we should do like a dive into childhood of politicians.
Yeah.
That would be such an interesting episode. Like even people that have been pew pewed. Um, like, let's look at your childhood. Like where is this coming from, buddy?
Yeah.
Um, and like I've been wanting to read the autobiography of like Trump's, is it cousin, niece, or something like that, um of how she talks about like his really shitty childhood and how his dad was like a piece of shit. I'm like, huh, that's where it comes from. You're just needing a lot of love, baby. Doing a lot of motherfucking damage to in search of it. um but that's where like it's stemming from.
Yeah.
Like it's
That's,
just
I
little
mean,
kid
yeah. We
love.
should we should do it to make it more clear, and I've understood that, and I've known that. Like it's just like I said, I gotta change the language again. I'm happy I caught myself twice. I was gonna say broken, but the way that I learned recently, they haven't learned to see their authentic selves. So we gotta love them because of, we know that Trump is a child in need of love. That's who he is, and we can only help him by loving him for who he is until he eventually learns to go back and pay attention to the child that needs love and becomes who he truly is, not not who he thinks he is because of his life experiences. But it's so fucking hard, and you know um it's so fucking hard to do that. And at some point, my own personal growth, I think what I'm learning, as I'm literally telling you what I'm learning and I'm being okay with, at the same time, it's not my fucking job to give it to you. It's not my job to be walking around and giving fucking this to every single fucking human. Cause I just fucking, if I carry the burden of being, have to be able to give you the love that you didn't get, you know how fucking exhausting it is on me at the same time? Now I agree with everything you've been telling me in the past because of that. because it's not my fucking job to be like, yes, I can acknowledge and love you from a distance, but it's not my fucking job and it's not my burden to carry to be fucking wanting to fucking love you when I'm not ready or I don't fucking I don't have the energy to give it to you. And that's the fucking crazy shit, you know? I can choose to take care of myself and not give you that shit, or I don't have the bandwidth or whatever, and the pain that it is making it my job, the pain that it is, the burden that I do by making it about me having to be the one to fucking give you the love and help you help yourself. And it's okay to not be me and hope everything works, but it doesn't have to be me. And I've been carrying that for a long time, but now, like I'm telling you, it's okay. I can pick and choose as of now, as of who I am today, who's leaning towards the umbrella shade and the thing, right? And yes, I still care for you within the distance, because some people lean towards the shade of compassion and thing, and some people lean away, and I just have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with that. It's not my, it's incredibly exhausting to make it my burden, to make it my job. And it
Yeah.
sucks. And it sucks, but I have to be okay with it.
Damn. I need to like remember this little clip because I remember the not arguments, but like the back and forths that we've had where I'm like, Steve, this is not your job. This is not your responsibility. And you're like, it is my job because if I know that they're suffering, why would it not make it my job? And I'm like, because you're just one human.
Yeah.
And right now you're like, it's not my job.
It's yeah. Uh, I think eventually that there's it's coming from anger still, as I catch myself, and then eventually I'll hopefully through more healing and more understanding, I'll remove the anger part of it and just be able to fully accept it and not be, because right now it still feels a little bit from frustration and anger, and I know at some point it'll just come from love and acceptance entirely. Yes, there is love and acceptance, and then there's some frustration, some anger or whatever, but it still makes sense. Pay, like I was telling you yesterday, paying attention to how it affects me is not worth it. It's not worth it to put all that burden within myself because of how much I'm carrying, because I make it my duty to fucking help or fix and trying to understand. Just gotta let that shit go. It's
Yeah.
not my job, and deal with the reality of what I have now and make the best that I can with that reality, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you say that we know each other and like we know what we're going to say and stuff. Um, and I still think that like some of the conversations that we we have are always very still very enriching and still very
Yeah.
like wait, now I'm thinking about this, right? Because right now as you're saying that of like it's not my job. I'm like, okay, but where is the line then um
That
of
is where I've lived my entire fucking life, Norma. Whatever you're gonna say is the constant balance that I go back and forth. I know what you're gonna say, and that's what makes it so complicated, because I can make arguments for the other side 100% of the time. I can fucking go make the drive and show up to whatever fucking place I need to show up in and drop the motherfucking hammer and drop the whole forest, not the tree, not the shit, and change is gonna fucking come. Change will happen. Change is going to fucking happen if I go and drop the whole fucking forest what I need to do and then say exactly what I say and how I feel and how this is happening, this is that and that. And if I choose to make it my fucking job, but that's the difference, that I now have the awareness to be able to say, if I choose to, I can take that fucking route. It's not no longer that is my fucking thing.
yeah. Just the part of like falling into apathy, right? Of I don't know. I don't know.
It's a
Um,
I love that, and we need to make an episode just on that balance and that thing, because I still
okay.
doesn't. It could be that I'm wrong, and this is why I bring it up to Pablo every time. And Pablo's like, "Worry about yourself. Do what you can do." And you're changing them for them, not for you. Work on acceptance, work on this, work on that. And I'm like, yeah, but where's the action? Because the action still creates change. And, it can come from that. It's so complicated. But yes, you're right. This the type of conversation is still work on, like, and we grow a lot from it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What's the balance?
it's the balance is the balance. All right. You got anything else before we close it up already?
Nope.
All right.
Thank you.
So yeah, let us know if you have any feedback, any questions, any topics you want us to talk about, any guest you want to be a guest, or you want to recommend a guest. Remember, you're not alone. Remember that we care for you, and so does everybody. By the way, everybody cares about you. They're just fogged up in their own shit that has nothing to do with you. But everybody does care about you. But if you want the the love and acceptance more clearly than some people can give it to you, normal as a therapist, I'm
I
a
am.
coach, friend, whatever the fuck you want to call me. So we are available for you. And yeah, you're not alone. Get some help. Find the people that you can love and trust and have conversations in your life. And take care. We'll see you here on the next episode of Mindful LCA. Peace.
Bye.